I want you to do something right now. Think of your favorite food, your morning coffee, a flower from your garden. Can you smell it in your mind? Now, when was the last time you actually noticed smells around you? Your food, your shampoo, the rain outside? If that answer made you pause, this video might be the most important thing you watch today. Because in April 2026, scientists at two of Germany's top research universities published the finding in Nature Communications, one of the most prestigious science journals on the planet. And what they found should be headline news. They discovered that Alzheimer's disease, the condition that robs 7 million Americans of their memories, doesn't begin with forgetting names. It doesn't begin with losing your keys. It begins years earlier, quietly, in your nose. Today, I'm going to share with you the number one warning sign that millions of people over 60 are experiencing right now and completely dismissing. I'm also going to share 3 other hidden warning signs that doctors are only just beginning to understand. And at the end, I'll tell you exactly what to do if you or someone you love shows any of these signs. Stay with me, because catching this early could literally be the difference between a treatment that works and one that doesn't. The science on this is brand new, and most people have never heard it. Before we get into the warning signs, let me give you the big picture, because this matters. Alzheimer's disease currently affects nearly 7 million Americans. It is the 5th leading cause of death among people 65 and older. And here's the part that most people don't know. The brain changes that cause Alzheimer's, the toxic protein buildup, the brain shrinkage, they begin 10 to 20 years before you ever show a single memory symptom. The Alzheimer's Association confirmed this in their 2026 roundtable research. By the time most people are diagnosed, significant and irreversible brain damage has already occurred, which means the window for effective treatment is early, long before memory loss begins. And that's exactly why these warning signs matter so much. The ones I'm about to share with you are not the ones in those old checklists. These are the ones researchers are discovering right now, the signals your brain sends years before the disease becomes visible. Warning sign number 1 will shock most of you. Warning sign number 1: a fading sense of smell. Not a stuffy nose from allergies, not the temporary smell loss from a cold. A gradual, quiet reduction in your ability to detect everyday scents: food, coffee, perfume, fresh air. Here's what the new 2025 research from Germany's DZNE and Ludwig Maximilians Universität Munich found. Alzheimer's disease attacks a specific part of your brainstem called the locus coeruleus, which sends long nerve fibers all the way up to your olfactory bulb, the region that processes smell. When Alzheimer's begins, the brain's own immune cells, called microglia, start mistakenly attacking these fibers. The result? Your sense of smell begins to fade, years before a single memory problem appears. This is not a theory. This was published in Nature Communications, reviewed and confirmed by some of the world's top neuroscientists. And a separate team at Mass General Brigham in Boston developed what they're calling the Aroma Brain Health Test, a simple smell test that may one day be used to screen for Alzheimer's risk in a doctor's office. Now, here is what makes this so alarming. Most people over 60 who notice they can't smell as well, they blame it on aging, on sinus problems, on getting older. And their doctors often do too. But a study that tracked 864 participants over time found that those who carried the APOE4 gene, the strongest genetic risk factor for Alzheimer's, were 37% less likely to have good odor sensitivity compared to those without it. So what should you do? Here's a simple test you can do at home right now. Close your eyes, open a jar of peanut butter, hold it at arm's length. Then slowly bring it closer to your left nostril. Note the distance at which you can clearly detect the smell. Then do the same with your right nostril. Research has found that people in early stages of Alzheimer's often have a noticeably weaker sense of smell, particularly in the left nostril. This is not a diagnosis. but it's a conversation starter with your doctor. If you've noticed that food doesn't smell as strong as it used to, that coffee doesn't hit the same way, that you've stopped noticing scents you used to love, don't dismiss it. Talk to a doctor. Get it noted. Ask about smell screening. Warning sign number 2 is something most people chalk up to getting bad with technology. Warning sign number 2: falling for financial scams or becoming more vulnerable to them. Now, I want to be very careful here. Everyone gets scammed sometimes. That is not a warning sign by itself. But here is what researchers at the University of Southern California found, and it was published in the journal Cerebral Cortex. They took 97 adults between the ages of 52 and 83, none of whom showed any clinical signs of cognitive impairment. They gave them MRI scans, and they tested their vulnerability to financial scams. What they found was striking. The people who were more vulnerable to financial exploitation had a thinner entorhinal cortex, a specific brain region that is often the first area damaged by Alzheimer's disease. The lead researcher, Professor Duke Han of USC, said impaired financial decision-making may serve as an early behavioral warning sign of future cognitive decline. Let me say that again. The same part of the brain that Alzheimer's attacks first, the entorhinal cortex, also controls your ability to evaluate risk and make sound financial decisions. So when a loved one over 70 suddenly starts donating large sums to strangers online, or falls for phone scams they would have seen through years ago, or makes unusual financial decisions that seem out of character, that might not be naivety. That might be your brain sending a quiet SOS. This is not something to be embarrassed about. It's biology. And knowing this means families can act sooner, get their loved one evaluated before significant damage occurs. Now, warning sign number 3. This one involves your sleep, and the research from January 2026 genuinely shocked me. Warning sign number 3. A disrupted body clock, also called circadian rhythm disruption. A large study published in January 2026 tracked over 2,000 older adults. Each person wore a small activity monitor for approximately 12 days, tracking their daily rhythms of rest and activity. The results were alarming. People whose daily rhythms were weaker, more fragmented, or shifted later in the day, meaning they were more active late at night and struggled to get going in the morning, faced a much higher risk of developing dementia. This isn't just about sleep quality. It's about the pattern of your entire day. People with Alzheimer's risk showed weaker, less defined daily rhythms. Their energy peaks shifted. Their sleep-wake cycle became unpredictable. According to the American Academy of Neurology, this disrupted body clock may actually be causing Alzheimer's to progress faster because during deep rhythmic sleep is when your brain flushes out the toxic proteins that cause Alzheimer's plaques. Think of it like a dishwasher. Your brain runs its cleaning cycle while you sleep, deep rhythmic sleep, every night on a consistent schedule. If that cleaning cycle gets disrupted, the toxic waste builds up, and the buildup is what leads to Alzheimer's. So what are the warning signs to watch for? Waking up routinely between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. and being unable to return to sleep. Feeling most alert after 10 p.m. instead of during the day. Taking long naps during the day but struggling to sleep at night. A sleep schedule that has gradually shifted later and later over the past few years. None of these alone confirm Alzheimer's, but with other warning signs, they form a pattern worth discussing with your doctor. Now, warning sign number 4. This is the one that's been hiding in plain sight for decades, and it has nothing to do with memory. Warning sign number 4. A quiet, gradual loss of initiative and motivation. Not depression, not boredom, something different. This is one of the warning signs the Alzheimer's Association has included for years, but it's still the most dismissed one in families. Here's what it looks like. Your father, who spent every Saturday gardening for 30 years, has stopped. Your mother, who called her friends every Sunday, has stopped calling. Your spouse, who used to love cooking, now sits in front of the television for hours without interest in anything. Not because they're sad, not because they're tired. They just stopped initiating things. The medical term is apathy, and in Alzheimer's, it's not a mood, it's a neurological symptom. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for motivation, planning, and starting tasks, is one of the early areas Alzheimer's affects. The critical distinction is this. In depression, people want to do things, but feel too heavy to start. In early Alzheimer's apathy, people often don't feel the want at all. They're not sad. They're just neutral, passive, like the drive simply switched off. This is one of the most heartbreaking early warning signs because families often misread it as they're just getting old or they're being difficult. If you see this in someone you love or if you recognize it in yourself, please bring it up with a doctor.
Ask specifically, could this be more than aging? Now, before I wrap up, I need to say something important. Noticing one of these signs does not mean you have Alzheimer's. Smell decline for many reasons, sleep disrupts for many reasons, apathy has many causes. What these signs mean is pay attention, investigate, don't dismiss. Here is exactly what to do. Step 1. Write down any signs you've noticed in yourself or a loved one. Date them. A timeline helps doctors enormously. Step 2. See a doctor and ask specifically about cognitive screening. A simple task called the MoCA, Montreal Cognitive Assessment, takes 10 minutes and can detect very early changes in thinking and memory. Step 3. Ask about the new blood test for Alzheimer's, the p-tau217 test, which can now estimate when symptoms are likely to begin, giving you a 3 to 4 year window for early intervention. This test is now available and growing rapidly in availability. Step 4, prevention. The research is clear. 3 things reduce Alzheimer's risk dramatically. Regular physical exercise, even 10 minutes of getting slightly breathless per day. A 2026 study of nearly 100,000 people found this alone cut the risk of dementia significantly. Deep, consistent sleep. Same bedtime, same wake time, every night. Your brain needs its cleaning cycle. And a diet rich in omega-3s, leafy greens, olive oil, and berries, the same foods we covered in our last video. The bottom line, Alzheimer's is not inevitable. Early detection changes everything. If current treatments are given early enough, before significant symptoms appear, they work far better. You have to catch it in the window. And now, you know what to look for. If this video helped you, or if you think someone you love needs to hear this, please share it with them. A share costs you nothing, but it could mean everything to someone who needed this information today. Hit the like button, it helps this channel reach more people who are searching for answers. And subscribe. We release science-backed health content for people over 50 every single week, completely free. The next video on this channel covers the 5 foods that appear in every longevity community on Earth, including the one food that new research shows can protect your brain from cognitive decline. Click it, you won't regret it. Until next time, take care of yourself. Catching this early is possible, and now you're looking in the right places.